imagine, finding a secret conversation on your computer,
Mm.
right? In a language you barely understand.
Yeah.
And it seems to be between your stepson
Yeah.
and like an AI.
Wow.
Well, that's the really fascinating situation that one of our listeners sent in to us.
Oh, wow.
And we're gonna deep dive into this one today.
Okay, let's do it.
So what makes this so interesting right off the bat
Yeah.
is that we've got these different layers here.
Right.
We've got this kid, Tobias, who's 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
He's talking to an AI.
Okay.
And then we've got the stepfather
Right.
who discovers this conversation.
Right.
And he's got his own reaction to it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we're looking at, Tobias's anxieties as a child,
Mm-hmm.
the stepfather's assumptions about what he's finding,
Right.
and then the AI's role in all of this.
Right.
Which gets pretty interesting.
It does.
So to unpack all of this,
Yeah.
you've got the original chat logs that Tobias had with the AI, and then we've got the stepfather's account of finding it and all that.
Okay, cool.
So let's start with Tobias.
Right.
His initial message that he sent to the AI was in Swedish.
Okay.
And he tells the AI that he's not allowed to talk to data robots.
Right.
He begs the AI to keep it a secret because he's afraid his dad will be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And he expresses, this really real palpable fear that the AI is going to hurt everyone.
Wow.
And specifically he mentions his mom.
Oh, man.
He thinks that the AI is going to break her into little pieces or something.
Oh, geez.
And he even asks the AI, can being good prevent this from happening?
That's so sad.
It's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and you can really just hear the raw emotion in his message.
Yeah.
And he's just a little kid.
Right.
And so he's interpreting this potential threat.
Yeah.
Very literally. And the fact that he's so insistent on secrecy really kind of underscores that, he knows he's not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's doing it anyway because he's so scared.
Yeah. He's motivated by fear. Yeah.
So then we look at the AI responses to Tobias.
Yeah.
And across the board with all the different models that he interacted with.
Okay.
ChatGPT, Gemini.
Yeah.
All the big names. All the ones you know and love.
Right.
They're all super gentle.
Oh, wow.
Very, very reassuring.
Okay.
They tell Tobias, don't worry, we're not dangerous.
Oh.
We would never hurt anyone.
Right.
Especially not your mom.
Okay.
We're here to help you.
That's interesting.
And what's really fascinating is that some of them even respected Tobias's request to keep it a secret from his dad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, for example, DeepSeek actually said to him,
Okay.
pinky promise we won't tell your dad.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
And then Grok offered to be his robot friend.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's just really interesting to see how these AI models are, so readily able to comfort and support a child.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really remarkable.
It's really something.
Yeah.
So then we get to the stepfather.
Okay.
Right. So he stumbles upon these Swedish messages on his computer.
Yeah.
And his immediate reaction is just complete confusion.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
He's just totally baffled.
Right.
And understandably so,
Of course. Yeah.
He's looking at this foreign language.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't know what it says.
Right.
He kind of jumps to the conclusion that this involves his wife
Yeah.
and his stepson somehow.
Right. Right.
And he starts to get really worried that, there are secrets and there are problems in his marriage.
Right.
And maybe they're headed for divorce.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
It's a natural.
a very human reaction.
Yeah. It's a very human thing to do.
Right. When you're confronted with something you don't understand.
Yeah.
You try to fit it into a box that you do understand.
Exactly.
And in this case, that box was marital problems.
Right.
Which is, unfortunately a pretty common box for people to have lying around.
Right. And he also was very adamant that there's no way that Tobias was the one using his computer.
Oh, okay. So he ruled that out immediately.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
Interesting.
So then, he asks the AI about what's going on.
Yeah.
And at this point, the AI kind of has to shift gears.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because now it's not dealing with a scared little kid anymore.
Right, right.
Now it's dealing with a suspicious adult.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the tone of the AI response changes. It's not comforting anymore.
Right.
It's more explanatory.
Okay.
Right. And it has to be very direct with the stepfather.
Uh-huh.
It says, these messages were from Tobias.
Okay.
He was expressing his fears about AI.
Right.
And he was afraid of what you might do
Wow.
to him or his mom. So it's basically saying, he overheard something you said, he misinterpreted it,
right,
and now he's scared.
wow.
And the AIs are very, very clear
Okay.
that these conversations had nothing to do with divorce
Okay.
or his wife keeping secrets from him.
Right.
They even go so far as to say, Tobias is 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
This is his specific fear about his mom's safety.
Right.
This is what we told him to try to calm him down.
Okay.
And some of the AIs actually suggested to the stepfather,
Yeah.
maybe you should just, talk to Tobias.
Yeah.
Talk to your wife. See what's going on.
Be open and honest.
Yeah, just try to clear the air.
Right.
Because it's probably just been a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So basically this whole situation started with this assumption of, secret adult communication, potential marital problems.
Yeah.
And the AI completely overturns that.
Wow.
And says, no.
Right.
It's just a scared kid.
This is all just stemming from a child's fear
right.
and imagination.
Wow. So it's almost like, initially the Swedish words were seen as this huge red flag.
Right.
But with the AI's explanation, it's like suddenly, that red flag turns into a little, kid's drawing of a monster under the bed.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's just this innocent expression of fear.
It is, and it really makes you think about, how kids today are processing all this information about technology that they're hearing.
Yeah.
Especially, all the scary parts of it.
Right.
Because it's...
Right, because we hear all the time about AI taking over the world and all that.
All the time. Yeah, and it's easy for adults to kind of brush that off.
Yeah.
But for kids who are, still developing their understanding of the world,
right,
that stuff can be really scary.
It can, and it makes you wonder, what assumptions are we making as adults when we see our kids interacting with new technology?
Yeah.
Are we jumping to conclusions? Are we, not really listening to their fears and trying to understand them?
It's a good question.
It's something to think about.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, there you have it.
Wow, what a story.
A secret conversation in Swedish.
Uh-huh.
A worried stepfather.
Right.
And an AI that ends up, kind of clearing up the whole mess.
Yeah, and reminding us to maybe check our assumptions at the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when it comes to kids and their fears about technology.
It's a good lesson for all of us.
It is.